कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को नयाति पराङ्गतिं यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अधृतस्थं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषं गोष्पदीकृतवारासं मसकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोस्सलिलस्सलीलं यस्सोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः हरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकेर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसह विहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतं तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्धवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वदं निशामयध्वम् वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनातु भुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणं महानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रमुतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाच इति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्य परं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलं वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पाश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलं माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयालुः नान्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवले सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरुधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत्परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलं मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्ष्यामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जयत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणश्च महाबलः राजा जयति सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कोसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणः हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलाभिस्तु प्रहर्तारपादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैथिलीं समृद्धार्दो गमिष्यामि मिषतां सर्वराक्षसां धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासरिदिर्यदि पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेन जहि रावणीम् आपदमपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तपस्वाध्याय निरतां तपस्विं वाग्विदाम्बरं नारद परिपप्रच्छ वाल्मीकि मुनिपुंगवम् ओम रामायण नमः. How many of you know Ramayana here? You can raise your hands. Yeah. Who is the father of Ramachandra? Dasaratha. Yeah. Who is the father of Dasaratha? Yeah. We get stumped at the second question itself. How can we claim that we know Ramayana? We don't know Ramayana. So Ramayana describes 40 generations of Ramachandra's ancestors and 35 generations and odd of Sita's generation. Similarly, there are numerous kings, Rakshasas, Vanaras, and so many detailed pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. And we have been discussing the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra in detail from Valmiki Ramayana every week on Saturdays at 4 p.m. And those who are interested can register and come on Saturdays. Today we moved it to 12 p.m. because of we have some other events going on because of the New Year. So last week we have concluded Balakanda, where Sita and Rama got married and they were staying happily for 12 years. When Sita and Rama were coming in Ayodhya, in the streets of Ayodhya, all the women of Ayodhya, when they looked at Sita, they were not jealous. They thought, she is the apt wife for Ramachandra. None of us, we are not fit to be the wives of Ramachandra. This is what they thought. With that we have concluded Balakanda, and today we will start Ayodhya Kanda. In the beginning of Ayodhya Kanda, Rama's qualities are mentioned, all the great qualities of Ramachandra. The Ayodhya Kanda starts with the verse that says, Gacchata Maturakulam Bharata Tadena Anagaha Shatrugnya Nitya Niti Puraskritaha. That means Bharata and Shatrugnya, they left Ayodhya along with their maternal uncle, who is Yudhajit. They left with him to that city. And Shatrugnya has been taken by Bharata just like one takes an object from his home. Shatrugnya doesn't have a separate identity. He is a servant of Bharata. If Bharata takes anything, along with that he takes Shatrugnya also. He belongs to Bharata. So Ayodhya Kanda starts with Gacchata Matulakulam Tadha Bharata Anagha Shatrugnya Nitya Shatrugnya Niti Puraskritaha. So like this, Ayodhya Kanda starts. Some people have commented that Gacchata, Ayodhya Kanda starts with the word Gacchata, going away. That means everybody will be going away in Ayodhya Kanda. So on this New Year's Day, we will talk about the glorious qualities of Ramachandra. He describes Sahirupo Upapannascha Viryavan Anasuyakaha Bhumau Anupamaha Sunuhu Gunair Dasaradopamaha. Sahirupo Upapannascha. Rama is glorious, he is beautiful, and nobody is compared to him. Viryavan Anasuyakaha. Viryavan, he is courageous, brave. Anasuyakaha, he is not jealous of anybody. Bhumau, on earth, Anupamaha, nobody can be compared to him, he is uncomparable. Sunuhu, Gunair, Dasaradopamaha. And in his appearance, he is like his father, Dasaratha. Sachanityam prashantatma mridupurvantu bhashate uchyanopi parusham navuttaram pratipadyate. This we have been discussing since long time. He is always peaceful. Sachanityam prashantatma mridupurvantu bhashate. He talks beautifully. Uchyanopi parusham. If somebody utters harsh words to him, uttaram na pratipadyate. He never responds to such people. Kadanchid upakarena kritena ekena tushyati nasmaratyapakaranam satamapi atmavattayah. If you do a small favor to Ramachandra, he remembers it all his lifetime. But if you do something, a bad deed towards Ramachandra, he never remembers it. That is one of his great qualities. Buddhiman madhurabhashi purvabhashi priyambadaha viryavan cha viryena mahadasvena vismitaha. He is Buddhiman purvabhashi priyambadaha. He starts the conversation. Priyambadaha, with a smile. Viryavan cha viryena mahadasvena vismitaha. He is courageous, brave, and he is strong. He knows that. And in spite of knowing that, he is very humble. Shila vruddhaihi, vayo vruddhaihi, jnana vruddhascha sajjanaihi, kathenasta vainityam astrayoga antareshwati. He always used to converse with the elders. Whether that elder be by age, by knowledge, or by his own qualities, good qualities. With such elders, Rama always used to converse with such elders, even during the intervals of his practicing Astra Yoga. Acha Mritakato Vidwan Vrdhanam Pratipujakaha Anurukta Prajabhischaha Prajaschapi Anurujyate. He is not interested in unuseful tasks. Vrdhanam Pratipujakaha. He was always respectful to the elders. Anurukta Prajabhischa. He always loved people. Prajaschapya anurujyate, and people also loved him back. This was the great qualities of Rama. And there are numerous qualities that are mentioned, out of which Nashres Rato Vidwan Naviruddhagata Ruchihi Uttarottara Yuktaucha Vakta Vachaspatiryatha. He was not interested, he was disinterested in unmoral stories, and he never lied. And in conversation he was like Brahaspati. Arogastarno Vangmi Vapushman Desakalavid Loke Purushasarajna Sadhureko Vinirmitaha. He did not have any diseases. Arogastarno Vangmi, he was young. Vapushman, he was intelligent. Loke Purushasarajna, and among all the gentlemen of the world, he is the primordial one, he is the topmost person. And for all these qualities, Dasaratha was impressed, and he wanted to install his son Ramachandra on the throne as the emperor, as the next emperor. So when Dasaratha was thinking thus, he called upon a meeting with all his ministers. All the ministers, kings, and all the kings from the Janapadas, the village heads, and all the chiefs, they all travelled to Ayodhya. And Dasaratha arranged for a nice accommodation for all these people in Ayodhya. And after greeting all the kings, after feeding them properly, giving them proper gifts, gems, and other treasures, he welcomed them into the court. And when Dasaratha entered the court, everybody rose to respect him. And then when Dasaratha was seated, everybody else was seated, and they all, with their folded hands, worshipped him. Then Dasaratha proclaimed that I have been ruling this kingdom since 60,000 years. I have protected all these people like a father protects his children. And I am tired after ruling this earth for 60,000 years. All these years, there is not once I have swerved from the path of dharma. Not even once I have uttered a lie. Not even once I made the people of Ayodhya lament. So nicely I have been ruling this planet. And I have conquered the entire earth. Wherever the sun rays can be extended up to that distant far, I have conquered all this land and brought it under one umbrella of Ikshvaku Vamsa, and I have been ruling it since 60,000 years. But now I am aged, I am tired, and my health is also getting worse. And my son Ramachandra has glorious and divine qualities, and he is better than me in all aspects. And I want to install him on the throne as the next emperor after me. When Dasaratha proclaimed thus, the entire court was thrilled, and they were doing harshadvanas, and they clapped, and the entire court was happy, fulfilled with happiness, and they proclaimed that Dasaratha, how great a personality are you. You have nicely decided at the right moment to install Ramachandra as the king. We are very happy about it. Then Dasaratha asked his kinsmen one more time, how come I have ruled this earth for 60,000 years, and I have looked after you as a father, and not even one person from this court had told that, my dear king, you have ruled us for 60,000 years, why don't you rule for some more years? Nobody has said it. As and when I proposed the name of Rama, you have all proclaimed that he should be your king, and you are happy about it. Is it because I have ordered that my son Ramachandra should be the king, and because you are all afraid of me, you have agreed to it? Or is it because you really wanted Ramachandra to be your emperor because of his qualities? And before this, Dasaratha also said, I am proposing this to all of you because if an idea is grinded with the discussion of noble men like you, and that idea will be polished well, and it will glitter more than it usually can. So that is the reason why I am proposing this discussion between all of you. So people of selfless attitude and one who are inclined towards Loka Kalyana, when you propose something, they would tell points that are beneficial to you, and they would chisel away the unwanted things from that idea and then make that gem of idea shine much better. That was the intent of Dasaratha, to propose this to his court and his kingsmen and with the village heads. And when Dasaratha proposed this, they all agreed. And now Dasaratha himself is asking, why do you want my son to be the king? I want to hear from you. This is like Ramachandra is such a glorious child of Dasaratha. He was proud. He wanted to hear the glories of his son from others. So when you want to hear some glories, you want to question others in such a way that they would answer you, so that their response will be the praises of your son. Just like if somebody cooks and offers you some food, and if you are eating it without complimenting it, they would stop you and say, they would not ask you whether the food is good or bad. They would ask you, is the salt all right? That means they are reminding you that it's time for a compliment. So you should stop and say, oh no, everything is fine, it's perfect. So that's how Dasaratha also is stopping the proposal of his kinsmen and asking them, why do you want my son Ramachandra to be the king? I want to hear from you. Then again they praised with many praises. Now they said, Rama is the greatest of all the Ikshvaku kings. Here they declared in the beginning of Ayodhya Kanda itself that Ramachandra is the greatest of all the Ikshvaku kings. Ikshvaku Vamsa is called with different names. What are the names? Surya Vamsa, Ikshvaku Vamsa, Raghu Vamsa. Right? So like that, three different names, because Raghu is also a great king in the lineage of the Ikshvaku kings. But even Rama is called Raghava. So great is the glory of Raghu. But once after Rama was born, the entire Ikshvaku dynasty got its name shined even more resplendently from the glory of Ramachandra. So that's why Dasaratha is asking, why do you want my son to be the emperor? So they responded that Ramachandra is the greatest of all Ikshvaku kings. And they also said that Ramachandra always, with his brother Lakshmana, goes around the villages and to the boundaries of our kingdom, and he fights with the enemies and returns triumphantly and victoriously. And whenever he returns back, he climbs on a horse or an elephant, and he comes in between the street corners, and he pleasingly questions everybody if everything was all right and if we were happy with how the things are going on. He would also ask us that if our disciples are following us properly or not, if our servants are serving us properly or not. Then Ramachandra will always be happy like a father if we are happy, and if we are in trouble, he will also be troubled. Here they say a beautiful sloka that Vyashaneshu Manushyanam Vrisham Bhavati Dukkitaha Manuja Vyagrat Rama Utsavesu Cha Sarveshu Pitureva Tushyati. That means Vyasanesu Manushyanam, in times of distress, Bravisham Bhavan Dukkitaha. Rama is also troubled because of our troubles. But when we are happy, Rama is also happy. A lot of people think that God is not merciful. He has given us so many troubles. No. When looking at our troubles, He feels troubled. It is us who are creating troubles for ourselves, not Him. Actually, people don't respect God. Rama himself explains in Ramayana that Kartaramapi lokanam suram karunavedinam nirviryam iti manyate nyunam mam trideseshwaraha. He says, even the omnipotent God, in spite after creating this entire creation and giving life to all the living entities, still He is not respected by the fools. Because why is He not respected? Why is He blamed? He tells the reason. Because Shuram Karunavedinam, because he is a little lenient at heart. The God, the omnipotent God is lenient at heart. That's why, people blame him. We see that people who are lenient and kind and soft, people try to take advantage of them. Similarly, God is the most lenient of all the entire creation. So, that's why Rama is troubled when somebody is troubled. His heart is so soft. He declares it in Aranyakanda also. These Rakshasas are troubling me, knowing that in spite of me being so powerful, I am kind at heart. That's why the Rakshasas are troubling me by taking away Sita. That's how he declares. Rama is so kind. His kindness is expressed in Uttarakanda also. When Hanuman gets up and says, "My dear Rama, I want to live as long as your story is being told." Hanuman asks, Yavad Ramakada Veera, as long as Ramayana is told, until then, Yavad Sarire Patsyanti, I want to live in this body. And when it is not sung, I want to leave this body. Then Rama blesses him that, my dear Hanuman, whatever favor you have done me, nobody can do it. Even by giving away my life, I cannot pay you back. But if at all, if I say that, O Hanuman, that I will do you a favor in future, that means that you should be in trouble and then I should do you a favor. But is it good? Is it a good way to talk? That's for one reason I don't want to do any favor to you. Because I don't want you to go through any trouble. This is what Ramachandra has told to Hanuman. He was so kind. And because of all these qualities, my dear Dasaratha, we want your son to be the emperor. We want him to rule us. And the people of Ayodhya, when they requested Dasaratha like that, Dasaratha promptly agreed. And he called Sumantra and said, my dear Sumantra, please go to my son's palace and call him here and tell him that your father Dasaratha had called you. And before that, he informed Vasishtha that, my dear Vasishtha, I want to install my son as the emperor tomorrow. Today is Punarvasu Nakshatra and this is Chaitra Masa. Tomorrow is Pushyami Nakshatra. So I want to install him when Pushyami star is approaching as the king. When he said that, Vasishtha also ordered all his assistants to go and fetch all the things that are required for Pattabhisheka. He ordered them to fetch gemstones, treasury, and all the things that are required for a yajna, and a tiger skin that has a complete tiger skin that has to be offered to Rama, and also one chariot and numerous weapons and the fourfold army along with an elephant that has all the auspicious signs. Ramachandra's elephant is called Shatrunjaya. It's a huge elephant, Shatrunjaya, you can see in one of those paintings right there. And that Shatrunjaya, when Rama was leaving Ayodhya, he gave it to Suyajna, the son of Vasishtha. But anyway, so Vasishtha ordered his assistants to fetch all these things. And after that, Sumantra left on a chariot to fetch Ramachandra from his palace. It is not like one palace everybody used to live together under one roof. Ramachandra had his own house because he is married now, so he has his own palace. Lakshmana had his own palace, Bharata had his own palace, and Dasaratha had his own palace. And from here, Dasaratha ordered Sumantra to go and fetch Ramachandra. So Sumantra went in a chariot to fetch Ramachandra. And he went into Ramachandra's palace, fetched Ramachandra from there, and he took him into his chariot and then took him towards Dasaratha's court. And when Ramachandra was going in the chariot, Dasaratha from a distance he saw his son coming, and he was not satisfied by the appearance of his son. I mean, Rama was Gandharva Raja Pratimau, Loke Vishesha Vikhyata Purusha. That means he was looking like the king of Gandharvas. Loke Vikhyata Purusha. I mean, he was the most famous personality walking the planet. When he saw Ramachandra coming, Chandrakantananam, his face was like the full moon. And Dasaratha was not satisfied drinking the beauty of his son Ramachandra. And when Rama walked like a lion, here Dasaratha explains that he was Matta Matanga Gaminam. That means like a elephant in rut, Rama was walking so gracefully. And when he walked, Dasaratha was looking at him and he was not satiated as all the glorious, looking at the glorious qualities of his son. And when Ramachandra walked in, first he fell prostrate in front of his father, Sastanga Namaskara, and then he got up and he came and asked his father for the reason for calling him to the court. Then Dasaratha got up and told his son that he gave him a golden throne which was studded with gemstones. He made him sit in the throne. Here Valmiki vividly describes that Rama got down the chariot and walked up the steps and then went into the court. So that assembly of the court is situated on an elevated platform, and then Rama walked in and then he fell prostrate in front of his father and he was seated in that golden throne studded with diamonds. And then Dasaratha explained him, "My dear Rama, I want you to be the emperor of this Ayodhya kingdom, Kosala Rajya. I have been ruling this kingdom 60,000 years, and now it is time for me to pass away this kingdom to you. You are one son with all full qualities. There can be no son like you, my dear Rama. So please bear the burden of this kingdom and relieve me of this burden and rule the kingdom of Ayodhya like Indra rules heaven." So saying, Dasaratha ordered Ramachandra, and Ramachandra agreed to it. And then he got up and he took leave from his father and he left again to his palace. And after he left, Dasaratha ordered his kinsmen and his assistants to get prepared for the coming ceremony tomorrow. So usually Pattabhisheka means it's a grand enterprise, right? But here Dasaratha has already prepared the ground by inviting all the kings. So everything has already taken place. Everybody has come there. If you remember, I think everybody of you are new to this Ramayana Harikatha. In our last Ramayana, Ramachandra asks Bharata before Paduka Pattabhishekam that, "My dear Bharata, are you planning your programs in such a way that you are declaring them only after accomplishing those programs? It's not like proclaim all your programs out and then do nothing. No, first decide what program you want to do and then accomplish it, and then only to tell it to your kinsmen." So like that, Dasaratha, he already decided his son to be the king, and he wanted to do the Pattabhisheka, and then he invited all the kings and then told them that I want my son to be the king, so that if there is any rebellion, he can suppress it with an iron fist then and there, right? Dasaratha was very smart. That's why he was the greatest of the kings on this planet. And then, when Ramachandra was told this, when he left, all the kings who were there, they started preparing for the Pattabhisheka. So they fetched sandalwood from all over the country. They grinded it to a paste and then started applying it on the doorsteps, on the Dwarabandha. It is called, or the door frames, the huge doorways. They started to smear it in sandalwood paste. The same tradition, even now, it is followed. Nowadays, because sandalwood is too costly because of Veerappan, we have replaced sandalwood with turmeric, which is also auspicious and sweet smelling, just as sandalwood. So they smeared sandalwood paste on the doorways, and also they decorated all the houses with flags, banners, and with silk cloths, and with various mango leaves and all kinds of leaves that are available in that season, and also flowers. And all the trees were decorated with flags and banners. Valmiki at one place describes that the trees were decorated with lamps, and lamps were also decorated in the form of trees. And people could not identify the difference between the trees that were decorated with lamps and the lamps that were decorated in the form of trees. So, artificial trees and the natural trees, both were decorated with lamps, and nobody could recognize which one is which. So, the decorating of trees with lamps is not a new tradition. It's not, it comes since ancient ages as well. So when everything was decorated in such a way, everybody was happy, all the deities in the kingdom, like the Vishnu temples in Ayodhya, they were all worshipped, they were all decorated, and also at the street junctions, there were some temples in the street junctions. That is why even today we see at the street junctions in India they install deities, right? They install some small temples. And this is not something new. This was there even from the time of Ayodhya. I will tell one example of. I will tell you a similarity between the people of Ayodhya, what they experienced, and even now what we do. They are not too different. The lifestyle was pretty much same. It's just that they don't have motorized vehicles. That's about it, and electricity. But other than that, their lifestyle was very much similar to us. In Aranyakanda, when Rama is taking bath in a river, Lakshmana comes to Ramachandra and describes the seasons. He's talking about the winter season at that time. He says, "My brother, at this time, the people of Ayodhya, they stop sleeping on their roofs. They come down and sleep in their homes in winter season. Right? In summer, we all sleep on our terraces in India. We look at the stars, and then in winter, we come down and sleep in our houses. So this was something very similar, right? So a lot of similarities are there between people of Ayodhya and the modern day lifestyle also. So, and then when they decorated all the houses and trees with lamps, Dasaratha entered the palace of the queens in that night time, just like moon enters a sky that is full of stars. And then here, Valmiki does a jump cut and goes forward and describes the next day morning what happened with Ramachandra's rituals. And then comes back again and tells what happened the previous night. So I don't want to confuse you with that chronological order. So I will tell you what happened that night. So Dasaratha entered the palace that night. But on the very same night, Mandara, the hunchback maiden of Kaikeyi, she climbed up the roof. And then she was seeing all the festivities going on in Ayodhya. And before this, when Ramachandra took leave from Dasaratha, he went to the palace of Kausalya. He crossed the 3 doorways and he went and met Kausalya, where Kausalya was already informed about the happy news, and she already has taken the vows of the fasting, and she was already fasting, and she was praying to Lord Vishnu. And Rama came and took blessings of her, and even before Sita arrived to the palace of Kausalya, Sumitra and Sumitra and Lakshmana, they all arrived to that palace, and they were all taking the blessings of Kausalya. And Ramachandra also came there, Sita also came there, and then they took the blessings of Kausalya, and Rama ordered Sita to take leave from her mother-in-laws and then to go to their house. And then Sita took leave of her mother-in-laws, and then Rama and Sita, they left on the chariot. And Ramachandra at the doorstep, when he saw Lakshmana, he told Lakshmana, "My dear brother, you will rule as a prince regent this Ayodhya along with me. We both will rule this kingdom." He thus said, and he embraced Lakshmana, and then Sita and Rama went to his palace. And after this, Kausalya was worshipping Vishnu, right? Here, our acharyas, Purvacharyas have told that this idol of Vishnu is none other than Ranganatha, the deity of Ranganatha. It is clearly mentioned here that Ramachandra worshipped Narayana. And Ramachandra went to his palace. We will see how he worshipped the next day morning. But this night, Mandara climbed up the palace of Kaikeyi, which was like Kailasa mountain. And when Mandara climbed up the Kailasa mountain, the dome, like the pyramidal structure on the top of Kaikeyi's palace, she saw all the people were celebrating in festive mood. Then she called one maiden and she asked, why are you guys so happy? When 100 people are happy, there will be one guy who is not, that impressed, right? She was Mandara. She called the maiden and asked, why are you guys so happy? Why is that Kausalya, she is distributing all the wealth, she is donating cows and riches to all the people. I never have seen her doing it. Why is she doing that? Then the maiden was so happy, she was dressed in white, and she said, don't you know that Prince Rama is going to be anointed as a king tomorrow? Don't you know this? Then Mandara heard about it and she was a little sad, she was a little jealous, and then she immediately climbed down that roof and then went into Kaikeyi's palace, and then she called for Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi was resting upon her couch and she was peaceful, and she immediately called Kaikeyi, you my child, on one hand the destruction of you has been planned, and on the other hand you are taking rest. There is a big calamity that is falling upon you. Get up and take action very quickly. Then Kaikeyi got up and said, my dear Mandara, why are you so disturbed? What happened? What happened? Then Mandara replied, nothing happened to me. All the calamity that is going to happen, it's to you. Get up and take action properly. Dasaratha, your husband, do you think he is a proper person? He, acting as a good person in front of you, behind you, he has planned for the destruction of you. He has anointed Ramachandra as the prince. As and when Mandara said this, Kaikeyi was filled with joy. She said, this is a good news. Mandara, there is no news better than this that you can ever tell me. This is the best news that you can ever tell me in your life. So saying, she removed her necklace, a jewel from her neck, and then gave it to Mandara. And then Mandara took it and then she threw it on the floor and said, oh Kaikeyi, how foolish are you? Here Ramachandra is anointed as a king and you are presenting me with the gifts. Don't you know that Ramachandra Ishtasya Sarvalokasya Sashankaiva Nirmalaha? He is liked by all the people on this planet. Don't you know this? Even Mandara, when she is complaining about Rama, she starts with a praise. I have never seen in Ramayana anybody addressing Ramachandra with a derogatory statement. They would all say, he is good, he is awesome, he is fantastic, and for this reason we don't like him. They don't say that he is bad, that's why we don't like him. So Mandara also tells, if Rama becomes the king, nobody will ever care for you or Bharata. His sons will become the kings, and Sita's sons, he will be respected, his lineage will be respected, not you. Kausalya will be respected, not you. Don't you know that when you are young, when Kausalya, you have mistreated Kausalya because of your arrogance? Don't you know this? And now if Kausalya becomes the mother of the king, she would have all the authority and not you. So saying, Mandara started injecting Kaikeyi with all her poisonous, venomous words. But still Kaikeyi was proposing that Rama is the only eligible person on this planet to be the king. And isn't he serving me better than Kausalya? And for me, there is no difference between Bharata and Rama. Both of them are equal to me. And isn't it Rama who serves me better than Bharata? And isn't it that Rama takes care of me more than Kausalya? Like that she started proposing. But Mandara did not heed. She started keep on injecting poisonous words into Kaikeyi. She said that your husband, he wantedly had made Rama as the king. If not, he would have consulted you about this matter before taking this decision. And this, I think, might have impressed Kaikeyi, and she started Hare Krishna. She started poisoning Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi was already poisoned now, and she said that today itself I would make my husband not to anoint Rama as the king, and at the same time anoint Bharata as the king. I will do that. But Mandara, how to do it? Tell me from your own words. Then Mandara told Kaikeyi that, O foolish child, have you forgotten that your husband has given you 2 boons long ago. When Devendra and the celestial demigods were fighting the Rakshasa named Sambharasura, Sambharasura ruled a kingdom in the south. So that Sambharasura, when all the demigods were trying to fight that Sambharasura, they could not win him. So Devendra came to your husband and asked to help him. And your husband took you two along with him, and then he fought that war with Sambharasura. And then those Rakshasas, they did not follow the rules of the war. After evening, when everybody was injured and those who have fallen, they started killing even those kings also. And like that, they have injured your husband. They tore him into pieces. Then you took him away from that battlefield to a safe distance, and there you have served him, nursed him, and then brought him back to life. At that time, Dasaratha granted you 2 boons. But then you told him that you would take those boons at your disperse at a later time. With that being said, you kept those boons with Dasaratha. Now it is the time for you to take those boons back again. So now go and ask your husband these 2 boons, and ask him to anoint Bharata as the king and to send Ramachandra to the forest for 14 years. Then Kaikeyi retorted back, "Oh Mandhara, oh you hunchbacked maiden, you are the most intelligent hunchbacked maidens I have ever seen. You are the most beautiful hunchbacked maidens I have ever seen. There are many hunchbacked maidens, but they are all ugly, but you are looking very beautiful. See how proportionately your limbs are distributed. You have a slender waist." So saying, Kaikeyi describes all the beauties of Mandara, a hunchbacked old woman. She is looking like a beautiful young girl to Kaikeyi because her eyes are blurred with the Rajoguna, with the desire of having her son as the king. She loved Ramachandra, but now because of the Maya that Mandara had induced in Mandara, in Kaikeyi, her eyes now are faded, just like a mirror is covered with the mist, cannot properly see. Similarly, Kaikeyi's eyes are blurred with the mist of Maya that Mandara induced into her. Now she said, "Oh Mandara, you are the most beautiful hunchback maiden, and when you are walking here with all the jewels, I see you like a swan that is going in front of my doorstep." And this was one of the comical versions, little hasya rasa is induced here in Ramayana. Just like when Surpanaka comes, Ramachandra and Lakshmana play tricks with her. Since you're all, I see a lot of new faces here who are coming to this Ramayana. So we'll tell this comical, humorous version that happened in Aranyakanda. So when Surpanaka came, she saw Ramachandra. How she saw? Diptasyam cha mahabahum Padmapatrayata ikshanam Gajavikranta gamanam jatamandala dharinam Ramam kandarpa sadrishim prabham Ramam indivarasyamam kandarpa sadrishim prabham Babuva indropamam drishtva rakshasim kamamohita. When she saw him, he was like a radiant sun. Gajavikranta gamanam, he walked like an elephant. Jatamandala dharinam, he had tufts of matted hair. And Ramam indivarasyamam, he was like a blue lotus in color, and his eyes are like lotus petals. With all this beauty, Surpanaka got attracted and she was lusty. She loved Ramachandra immediately. It was love at first sight. And then she approached Rama and said, "I want to marry you straight away. Let us enjoy all these forests, wandering with each other hand in hand." Then Rama said, "I am already married. You seem to be a lady of a regal appearance. You seem to belong to a royal family. I am married. For you, to serve me along with a co-wife, I don't think you would enjoy it. So you better marry my brother Lakshmana. He doesn't have a wife. That means here, in the forest, he doesn't have a wife. So why don't you approach my Lakshmana? He is very similar to me. He is as glorious as me. He looks just like me. Go and ask him." And then Surpanaka went and asked Lakshmana, "I want to marry you." Then Lakshmana said, "I myself am a servant to Ramachandra, and if you become the servant of a servant, then what is the use of, I don't think you would enjoy it, because you seem to be a lady from royal, regal nature. So go and approach my brother one more time. He is the only one fit to be married to you. So Lakshmana also played a trick here, and he says that then when Surpanaka approaches Rama, and again she asked to marry him, but she realizes that both of them are playing tricks, and then she tries to fall on Sita. Then at that time Rama orders Lakshmana to check that woman. Then Lakshmana comes and cuts off her nose and ears and sends her away. But then that was one of the Hasya Rasa in Ramayana. But here again, when describing Mandara, Kaikeyi says, "You are like a swan, strolling in front of my house. I like you. You are the most beautiful hunchbacked maidens. And when I anoint Bharata as the king of this Ayodhya kingdom, I would decorate your hunchback with a golden chain." As I said, here talking about the person's beauty, at the same time reminding him or her of her, handicappedness. But then when she said all these things, Mandara advised her, "This is the time for you to go to Sokagraha. That means a place where you express your anguish and distress. So their palaces are built in such a way, they have themes. This house is meant for happiness, this house is meant for like that." So Kaikeyi went into that house, and then she slept on the floor, removed all her ornaments and threw them on the floor. Valmiki vividly describes that all the gemstones from her ornaments were scattered on the dark floor in the night, and then they appeared to be stars in the sky. So beautiful was his description. And then when she slept like that, at that time Dasaratha entered that palace that night. And when he entered, the palace was filled with maiden servants and swans, peacocks, ducks and other birds. And when he saw all these birds wandering around, he saw the palace beautifully decorated, but he didn't see Kaikeyi. And this was the first time in his life that he did not see Kaikeyi when he entered the palace. She was not there on her couch. And when Dasaratha saw this, he was a little in anguish. He thought, how come my wife is not here to greet me with, as she used to do? And when he did not find her, he asked the maidens what happened, and they told him that Kaikeyi is in, that Griha, and Dasaratha travelled there. He went there, and when he saw Kaikeyi, his mind was tormented with grief. Then he sat down and he asked Kaikeyi the reason for her anguish. Then he started running his fingers in the hair of her, just like a father does to his child, and he asked her, "Who on this earth made you like this? Who caused you grief? Tell me. That person, I would annihilate him right today. Tell me the reason for your anguish. Don't you know that I am the most powerful man on this planet? Tell me who have to be greeted properly and who have to be punished. I will do as according to your wish. You know that I can do anything. Right? So get up and tell me your desires." Then he started saying so many other things. He said, "You know that there is nobody on this earth who is dearer to me than you except Rama." Here also, Dasaratha, when he is trying to please his wife, even in that intimate moment, he never forgot his son Ramachandra. Here also he says, "Anuliptena na janani." He says, oh proud lady, don't you know that in this entire earth nobody is dearer to me than you except my son Ramachandra. Manuja Vyagrat Ramat, he says, in all the men, the foremost among men, Ramachandra is the dearest son of mine. He is dearer to me than you. But on him today I take a promise and give you a boon, that whatever you ask today, I will fulfill that boon. So he says. Then Kaikeyi got up with alacrity. Then he also says further that I love my son in so many ways. Without him, I cannot live even for a moment. And Dasharatha is telling very truth. When Rama left Ayodhya, everybody cried, wept, and then they blamed Dasharatha for this, Rama's exile. But none of them left their lives, right? It is only Dasharatha who gave up his life when Rama was not there. So here he tells, I will give up my life if I don't see my son even for a moment. So on that son, today I take an oath that I will fulfill your desire. Tell me what you want. Then Kaikeyi got up immediately and sat down and said that, my dear Dasharatha, you have given me the boons. You remember when I helped you in the war with Sambarasura, you gave me 2 boons. I did not take them at that time. I put them as a trustworthy, with you. Now I want those boons back. Then Dasharatha pleasingly told, my dear wife, I told you I'll give you the boons. You can ask, not just to, as many as you want. Then she called all the demigods. She said, O demigods, O fire, O water, earth, wind, and you Panchabhutas and Ashtadiggaya, you see, my husband has promised, oh you 33 demigods, you all have seen and heard the promise of my husband. He has promised me that he would fulfill my wishes, let them be whatsoever. So today you are all are the witness for my husband's promise. Then Dasharatha laughed and said, what is the need, for calling all these Panchabhutas and everybody as a witness? I told you I'll give you the boons. I promised you on my son. You better go ahead and ask them. Then she says, I want Bharata to be anointed as the king. And I want Ramachandra to be sent to forest for 14 years. Dasharatha, as and when he heard this, he swooned and he fell unconscious. And then he thought, this could be a bad dream. He was thinking, while he was unconscious, he was thinking, this could be a bad dream. But how come I am getting such bad dreams? Kaikeyi never talked like this before. She was a kind woman, but only today she is speaking like that. So he got up and he immediately fell unconscious one more time. And after a long time he recovered, he got up and said, oh cruel woman, you are bringing destruction to the Ikshvaku race. Why should I send my son Ramachandra, who has lotus eyes, who is as soft as the petals of a lotus, to the forest which is full of thorns and bushes? I cannot send my son. And for what reason should I send him? Your first wish, that Bharata should be anointed as king, maybe even though I don't like it, I can do that. But the second wish of sending his to forest, I cannot do that. Without my son, I cannot live for a moment. And also, for what reason should I send him? Tell me one good reason. He always respects elders. He has so many innumerable qualities. Aganita Gunagana Bhushana Ram. He is so great in all his auspicious qualities and virtues. What can I tell the people of Ayodhya? What reason should I give that I should send my son to the forest? I cannot do this. He says, Satyavakyena, Jayena Satyavakyam. He says Rama has won the entire universe with his Satyavakya Paripalana because of his truthfulness. Here there is a story that has to be mentioned. The Chola Raja of the South Indian kingdoms, he asked one of his ministers, one of the poets, he's called Madhya Bhattaraka. He asked him, how come Ramachandra, he said, Atmanam Manusham Manye in Yuddhakanda. That means, I am the son of Dasharatha, I am not God, I am a man. He agreed that he was a man in Ramayana. But how come he gave moksha to Jatayu? He gives moksha to Jatayu in Aranyakanda. He says, my dear Jatayu, you will reach the topmost places and you will never come back. He gives him moksha. How come he gave moksha while at the same time he himself accepted that he was a man? Atmana Manusham Manye. Then the poet quoted Dasharatha from this instance. He says, Jayena Satyavakyam. That means Rama has won the entire universe with his truthfulness. So Rama is the Lord of the universe. So with his virtue, being a truthful person, he became the Lord of the universe, and with that virtue alone, he gave moksha to Jatayu. This was the explanation of Madhya Bhattaraka poet. and then the king greeted him with many things. So with that good note that Rama has won the entire universe by the virtue of his truth, we will stop this Ramayana today, because on the New Year day we don't want to send Rama to the forest. With that we will end this. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. We do this Ramayana Harikatha every week. So those who are interested